Hey everybody, my name's John and I'm one of your Tri-C librarians. So I don't like watching unnecessarily long videos, I'm guessing you don't either, so I'm gonna try and keep this thing as short as possible. The first part of this is just going to be a really quick sales pitch about why using this website actually makes sense for you. The second part of it is how to actually use the resources. So first up, my guess is that at some point in your educational careers, you've gone to Google, you've started doing research for an assignment, you've clicked a link and it's taken you to a page a lot like this where it says, yeah, you can read this thing, but you have to subscribe and pay us money first. Well, in a lot of cases, the library website already has that exact article in full text. Or maybe you said, you know what, I am going to use quality resources and go to Google Scholar and find an academic journal to use for my paper. Okay, so you click that link, it takes you to a thing like this where it says get access. And then it says, yeah, you can read this for $35.95. Well, again, in a lot of cases, we have that article too. So if you kind of retrain yourself to start doing your research at the library website, you can save yourself the time and the aggravation of finding pages like this or thinking that you found an article only to realize that they want to charge you money. So there's my sales pitch. Now let's talk about using this thing. So you're looking at the Tri-C Library website. If you've never been here before, Google Tri-C Library. So Tri-C space library. The link that it gives you on Google will take you straight to this page. So first up, even though the library is currently physically closed, the librarians are still working. Obviously, I made you this video. So if you have questions, there's a chat feature here where if you click this, you can talk to a librarian through a chat feature. You can call us if you have questions. You can email us. If you're having a tough time, you can even schedule an appointment to guarantee yourself some good quality one-on-one time with us. So we are still here for you. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and say what you're going to want are the research guides. So ignore the finding books, finding articles, all this other stuff, because your assignment is asking you to do a journal article report. So you're just finding one article. So I know that this button here says finding articles, but you're in an early childhood education class, and you need to find stuff that's specific to the field of education. That's why these research guides exist. So if I scroll down to E and click on early childhood education and just go ahead and click this first link here, there are databases that are just education. So if you've never heard the phrase database before, it's not a place where data sits. In this case, it's just places where we keep digitized versions of magazines and academic journal articles. If you've been in an English class before, you've probably seen Academic Search Complete. We're going to ignore that one for right now, and I'm going to click on Education Research Complete. Now the great thing about this is that you don't really need to worry about whether the results that you're looking at are from education journals, because that's all this thing is. If you wanted to get a little more, well, if you wanted to give yourself more options, this link where it says choose databases, there are other education databases in here. So if you wanted to say, I want to look in Education Full Text, Education Research Complete, and this ERIC database all at the same time, click the boxes, click OK. Interface is the same, but now you're looking at thousands of different education resources all at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that there's a box up here that says subjects. So sometimes the words that you and I think to use in, regular everyday speech and communication aren't necessarily the words that an author will use, or they're not necessarily the official terms for those words. So I'll give you a really quick example. Indians, right? So the official term for what most people call Indians is Native Americans. If you've heard of fracking, The actual term for that is hydraulic fracturing. So this is where you can find those official words. The reason why that's useful is that sometimes you start doing a search, you're not finding as much stuff as you think you should, and it turns out that it's just under a different term. So let me give you a really quick example here. So I'm going to click on the education thesaurus, and let's say that, I'm thinking maybe I'll look up stuff on the single parents' kids. Well, the thing is, I doubt single parents' kids is what an author would say. But if I start, just say single parents, I browse, it's going to start looking for things that are related to what I typed. So there is a subject for single parents, but there's also a subject for children of single parents. So if I click that, click the box, say add, and then search, 157 articles where the primary subject of those articles are the children of single parents. So it's kind of a cool feature. Now, you don't have to do it that way. So, for example, if I wanted to look for things about Native Americans, I can just type my term in there, hit search, and 39,503 results pop up. Now, that's why these other boxes exist, and it's also why these drop-downs are here. So if you've just started doing a research assignment on this particular resource, I know that number can be a little scary. So we're gonna go over how to narrow this down a little bit. So right now, we're just looking at a lot of articles that have something to do with Native Americans. But this can be Native Americans in kindergarten, elementary school, high school, college, any of those things. And this can be talking about testing or bullying or, anything that involves that particular group. So these other boxes down here basically give you the opportunity to get more picky and more specific. So, let's say that I wanted to look at something like Native Americans and college readiness. So when Native Americans graduate from high school, how prepared for college are they? Okay, so my tens of thousands of results just dropped down to 114 because I was a little more specific. If I wanted to say Native Americans and standardized tests, same deal. It's still a much, much smaller number than if you just type in one term in the top there. And that's the other thing. You'll notice I'm not typing a thesis statement or a question because this database doesn't understand questions like, you and I would ask each other. What you want to do is when you're trying to figure out what you want to do research on, underline the people, places, things in that statement, that question, and those people, places, things are what you're going to type into these boxes. So once you're here, if I scroll down a little bit, you'll notice that there's a box where I can say, show me only full text articles. So that's going to get rid of all of the stuff that you can't immediately pull up and access. The other thing here is your assignment wants you to be using scholarly peer-reviewed journals. So not magazines, not newspapers. These are things that experts in the field have written, and other experts had to kind of read them and sign off on them and approve them before they could be published. So it's really high quality stuff. To get to that point, you're just going to click this box over here that says Scholarly Peer-Reviewed Journals. By that point, our number is going to go down even more. And right now, our articles date back to 1930. Standardized testing has changed a little bit since then, so you might want to, update this to 2010 maybe. And the number gets even smaller. So at this point, you can look at your source types. You don't want reports, so we're going to go ahead and say journals. Number gets even smaller. And this is where you can start looking and seeing, are any of these really standing out to you as good possibilities? So if you see something that says PDF full text, if you click that link, the article will just pop up on your screen. If you see something that says full text finder, it's going to give you a breadcrumb to click, and after you click that breadcrumb, then you'll be able to access the article. So there's the breadcrumb, click it, and then there is the PDF full text link. So sometimes it's a really, really quick path to get to the article, sometimes it takes a couple of clicks. Now, you'll notice that this thing says that it is 23 pages long. Well, part of that is going to include a pretty sizable list of sources, so it's not actually 23 pages of article. The other thing is there's a whole bunch of white space here, but just be aware that even though your assignment says a minimum of 2 pages, most peer-reviewed journal articles are at least 2 pages. It's not uncommon for them to be 10 or 15, so that's normal. I'm sorry. If you want to get a little bit more information about an article before you commit to reading it, you can click on the title. That's usually going to give you an abstract that kind of summarizes what the article talks about. Now, reading the abstract is not a replacement for reading the article. Abstracts are kind of like movie previews. It gives you an idea about what it's going to cover, but it's not a replacement for watching the movie. So let me go ahead and take you back to the result list here. And maybe you got to this point and there just isn't anything there that really stands out at you. Well, if that's the case, you can change the topics up here, change the terms. So if you wanted to look at something like, we can say academic achievement. Okay, so we're at 200 and some, and let's go ahead and make sure that we're looking at academic journals again. And this time, instead of starting with 200 and something, you can also click on these things that say subject thesaurus term and get this down a little bit farther. So if I click the box for academic achievement, it'll take me down to 41 articles that really focus on that topic. And let's go ahead and say Native Americans education. So these boxes can really, really be good friends for you. So in this case, the author said American Indians, the database says Native Americans. Like I said, they don't always use the same terms, but I'm going to click the title. Abstract looks awesome. So if you need to get a citation for an article in here, it's as easy as going over to the right and clicking on that button that says Cite. So a citation generator opens up in here, and if you need to use APA, there's your citation. If you need to use MLA, you just scroll down a little bit farther. Citations are right there for you. So I hope that this gives you a decent crash course in using the database, but just remember, you want to make sure that when you go to the library website, you go to the Early Childhood Education Research Guide, you click on the Education database, and then once you're there, use the limiters that are on the left-hand side. Make sure that you find full text, peer-reviewed, current academic journals. If you have questions along the way, you can always chat with a librarian, give us a call. Again, my name's John, my number's listed on here, and I hope that gives you a good head start. All right, take care.